about it in a garbled way in the newspapers. But because I did not give a written speech, I spoke like that. Anyway, we feel that it's very important that we stress on these areas, and this will definitely have a positive impact on reducing birth rates. Current rates, which are anywhere between 3 and 3.1%, are far too high. And but I don't know. Our birth rates are high. Partly this is because of ignorance and lack of knowledge and lack of education, especially amongst women. But we also have a very high percentage of people who are illegal immigrants into Pakistan. The other day at the Commonwealth Conference, I got a little message from the Bangladesh Prime Minister through her emissary there, a representative. She said, your Interior Minister has talked of backing off and deporting Bengalis who are illegally settled in Karachi. I said, which country will not deport illegal immigrants? And if we have 1 million or 2, I said, this may explain your good rate of growth of population. You brought it down from 2.8 or 9% to 2.1%. And maybe by packing off 2 million people to Pakistan, this may be a reason why your birth overall population growth is low and ours is high.
And you know what you're talking about, right?
Because so I really don't know. But I tell you that our high growth of population is a very serious problem. It's never been tackled effectively. During the martial law regime of General Zia, this whole program was put off bounds, and an impression was created that this is anti-Islamic, although it is not. In Bangladesh, in Egypt, in many other countries, the ulama, the Muslim religious scholars have agreed that this is valid in Islam, and from some of our highest schools of learning, there is no dispute on this. And yet, the service has to be provided to the people, but the service was withdrawn from the people. So now the government has decided to do it through hospitals, through the healthcare system, to provide the service for birth control, etc. to people. But essentially, it will have the major impact coming from spread of literacy and knowledge and education. So we are moving in all these directions, we're moving forward. But in some, the growth is slower than we should be doing, like in education and literacy. I want the people's participation to come about, for us to develop a movement. And I hope that I'll be able to persuade the major political leadership, whether it's in the government or opposition, to try and involve themselves in that. I want the Prime Minister and the President and the ministers to be visiting small rural and urban slum areas, schools, and I want them pictured on the television so that people should feel that, look, this is important, we care for it. And we get people involved in a participatory development.
This is to the interest
That is how it can be done. It's not just a question of allocation of more resources. Yes, we must allocate more resources, at least double what we are doing today for education, in order to make a meaningful impact. Although this is much more than in the past. This government has increased allocations to education and social sectors by almost 50 to 60% over the past. Nevertheless, in my view, this needs even more attention.
I believe you're right. I mean, the willingness of the whole nation is deeply stated for this trend. This is leading naturally to the following question. You've mentioned earlier Kashmir, Bangladesh, but Afghanistan as well. Which role would you say Pakistan has in a regional stability?
Well, Pakistan has an important role to play. We are a nation of 130 million. We have a number of other important countries around us, countries of the Central Asian Republic. We are a neighbor of two very large countries, of India and China. And with China we have very good, friendly, traditional relations. They've never let us down. They have consistency in their policy. We have excellent relations with them. We are also a neighbor to Iran, which is a brotherly country with whom we have very good relations, excellent relations again. We are in close proximity to Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, again with all of whom we have excellent relations. So we have a unique country which has excellent relations with both Iran and Saudi Arabia and the Gulf. And we are also a democracy, a liberal and progressive democracy, which is also an Islamic country. We have good influence in the OIC, Islamic Conference. And we have good relations with the entire spectrum of Muslim countries, ranging from Sudan and Libya through Egypt and Algeria and Turkey and Bangladesh and all these Islamic countries.
What about the CEO, the Cooperation of Economic?
Yes, that consists of the Central Asian new republics plus Iran,
Turkey.
plus Turkey, plus Pakistan. And we want naturally peace to come about, peace and stability in Afghanistan at the earliest. We were the frontline state in the effort to revive and restore the sovereignty of Afghanistan and to push Soviet troops out of that country. We had more than 3 million refugees. We had to suffer the Kalashnikov culture, the drug culture as a result of that. Before the Afghan war, we had no hard drug addict in Pakistan. Today we have 3 million over, of which more than 2 million are heroin addicts. So Pakistan has suffered a lot. Our physical infrastructure suffered a lot. This was the largest concentration of refugees anywhere in the world.
That's right.
And we still have 1.4 million refugees on Pakistani soil. We want them to go back in honor and in peace to their own country. We want to help in rebuilding Afghanistan and Afghanistan's infrastructure. They are our neighbor. Many of their tribes
are very much linked with
in Pakistan. 50% of their population is Pushtun, and we have Pushtuns in Pakistan. So we have great cultural, historical, religious and ethnic ties with Afghanistan. It's a land that has suffered, a people that has suffered enormously over the last decade and a half. We want peace to be restored. We want peace not only for their sake, but we also want peace for lines of communications to be established between Central Asia and Pakistan and the warm waters. Also for Russia, South Russia, to take advantage of all that.
That's right.
And to develop, and for everyone to develop, whether it's Iran or Turkey or Pakistan or Afghanistan or the Central Asian republics. And we think that the benefits will accrue to all. Pakistan is very strategically located, both vis-a-vis Central Asia and vis-a-vis the Gulf. We sit on the Straits of Hormuz, literally. We are very keen to develop the port of Gwadar as a container transit terminal, as well as a major outlet for Central Asia. So Pakistan has a tremendous potential, and this whole area has a tremendous potential. I think just as the decades of the 80s and the 70s and the 90s saw the tremendous upsurge of growth in the Pacific Rim countries, so we feel the next decades, 2 or 3 decades, are going to see tremendous growth of economic activity in these regions, which Pakistan bestrides both these regions.
I'm sure our readers will very much appreciate your government priorities. But as a last question, I would like very much to have a more personal view on the potential that Pakistan offers to foreign investors. Pakistan is probably one of the most deregulated economy of the area. Agriculture is very important here. You mentioned energy and the manufacturing sector. Which are the fields do you think foreign investors are more likely to be interested in the year to come?
Well, I think our basic strength is in agriculture. We have 34 million acres of irrigated land, which is perhaps the highest concentration of irrigated land in the world.
The network is...
So we have stable, a very solid, stable agricultural assets in the form of sufficient waters for irrigation, of very high quality silt-laden lands. I think there's a tremendous scope for foreign private investment in agricultural services, like in seeds and pesticides and farm equipment, etc. That's one. Secondly, in marketing of agricultural products for exports, especially the value-added marketing, like in vegetables and fruit and flowers and so many other specialized areas. Pakistan has a large number of climatic zones, and at one time you can be growing temperate crops and fruits and tropical fruits and arid zone fruits. So but gradation and marketing are again areas of serious shortcomings. So in that area too, corporations and companies abroad can be of great help. In basic manufacture, in manufacture of high-tech machines, again Pakistan offers great advantages. Skilled labor in some high-tech manufacturing may cost as much as $100 per hour. In Pakistan it costs $6 or $7 per hour.
And they're willing
so joint
to
ventures
learn.
in Pakistan, even for non-traditional high-tech areas, even say in aircraft manufacturing, for instance. Dassault may be building planes at $100 an hour. One Mirage may take 75,000 man-hours. Now look at the cost savings, where from $100 an hour it comes down to $6 an hour. So we have acquired technologies, and we think that these are, look at the thermal power stations that are coming up in the private sector. Much of that can be manufactured in Pakistan through joint ventures. So I think these are new areas where there's a tremendous scope for European, American, Japanese corporations and companies to seriously consider.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you very much, Mr.
British
President.
companies too.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd just like to ask you finally, the report that we're producing, it's going to come out at the beginning of 1996. And so far we've covered mainly the financial sector and the
Yes.
transportation sector. And in order to be representative of each sector, we obviously want to interview the ministers. And we've put in requests through the Board of Investment and through the Ministry of Information. But we found that there are a couple of meetings actually that have been quite elusive to agenda, and we were wondering whether you would be able to assist us in this respect.
Which are these?
We've put a request in obviously for Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, but these are the ministers here that we haven't seen yet. We'd really like to see as soon as possible so that we don't have any sort of delay.
You
in
want my
publication.
office to help you?
No, sir, we are already doing
That
that.
would be-
We're pushing. And the moment we get confirmation,
You can also help them. Take this
we'll
list.
do our best.
Try and get them.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Would we be able to have a couple of photographs with you?
yes,
possible.
Thank you.
quickly because the
Be very fast.
Yes, we know
defense
that.
minister is waiting.
Okay.
You can come here. We will have
Yeah.
the photo of Mr. Jinnah.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Thank you.
May I come in here in
Yes.
the middle?
Please.
Right.
Shall I come on the other side?
Oh, that's all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Could I have a picture of you?
Yes, yes.
Please. Maybe.
Sorry about this.
I'm sorry.
Great, thank you.
All right. Goodbye.
An honour to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Tariq.